This is a little collective haul of things that I bought, some of which were relatively recent, like the Rihanna perfumes. These I got, I think, from Direct Cosmetics last year. I mean, literally maybe like 4 or 5 months ago when I'm recording this. So yeah, I'm going to start with Christina Aguilera Red Sin. These, I think these were all tester bottles, which is why they don't have boxes. These two, obviously, I just did a Google search for these and I just found wherever I could. So the reason I went for this perfume, I mean, all of these, partly because cheap, partly because people have recommended certain things to me, sometimes because I've heard other people talk about them. This one I think I found because I was looking for ginger perfumes, or perfume with ginger in, and it was super cheap, although, well, I'm saying that, these were super cheap. This one I think maybe was a tenner or something, so not as cheap as these, but the notes sounded really good, and there were quite a few positive reviews of this one actually, so I just thought, okay, I'm going to try it. Top notes: cinnamon, red apple, middle notes cyclamen, base notes ginger, sandalwood and musk. So I really don't like bows. I find they really get in the way. They really are annoying. This gets stuck when I try to put the lid back on, but anyway, okay, let's just push that back into place. So I do get a bit of a scent when I spray it, but generally this is so light, this perfume. I mean, it's almost invisible, even on the skin when it warms up. It's incredibly light. You do get that apple, and it's a very bright, fresh apple. I think that I wouldn't necessarily know that this was ginger. I think it's just brightening the whole thing up, because I think the cinnamon quite quickly comes in and takes over. And you do get a bit of an apple cinnamon vibe, but it's incredibly light. It lasts for mere moments, and the actual dry down when you've got it on your skin, on me anyway, it's like the floral just took over and it started to smell like a bit of a kind of old school perfume, you know? It sort of had that vibe of just like a really classic, very perfumey smell. So not mad for that one by any means. It's okay, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, the quality is just very lacking, and you can get much stronger things, and you can get other apple and cinnamons that are gonna perform way better. It's almost not a perfume. It's so light. It's crazy. So this one is Unbreakable Bond. I think the Khloe and Lamar perfumes, I think originally this one came out as just Unbreakable, and then they had Unbreakable Love and Unbreakable Joy, which is a red bottle. I've never actually seen that for sale. But I think they changed this to Unbreakable Bond when they brought out the flankers, because there's no other listing for this to be a separate perfume, and it makes sense for the notes. But they're super cheap, so I thought I'd try them. The whole idea of these perfumes, as far as I understand, is that they're supposed to be for like kind of couples, married couples, unisex, so either person can wear them. So I was interested in this one mainly because of the Mexican chocolate note. So okay, the notes for this, top notes: Granny Smith apple, saffron, bergamot and clementine. Middle notes: red berries, geranium, jasmine and lily of the valley. Base notes: Virginia cedar, Mexican chocolate and tonka bean. Oh, and vanilla. So let me just give this a spray. I sort of remember this one. I've really had these for ages. Yeah, this straight up smells like a men's cologne to me. It doesn't smell in any way feminine. It just smells like a quite sweet men's cologne. Yeah. There's not necessarily anything in the notes that scream masculine, but the cedar's strong. The apple's quite strong. I can definitely smell the saffron and the chocolate, and I think those are really nice, but the overall vibe of it, especially when you first spray it, is hardcore. Oh, that smells like quite an almost classic men's cologne. You get more and more chocolate as it starts to dry, which is really nice, but it's sitting on top of a of far too masculine a scent for me. But what I will say about this one is that I think I might like this one enough to see if my husband likes it, because that chocolate is really nice. I mean, to be honest, he's nowhere near as interested in scents as I am, so the chances are he's going to say no. Because he's already got a few, and generally speaking, all of the ones he's got I bought for him. So he tends to take the Aqua Colonias that I find a bit too masculine, because I nearly always love the smell. But there's something nice about this. There's something nice about the chocolate. But as I said, this is not one I would wear. It just absolutely screams men's cologne at me. And it's just, that's not a vibe that I can deal with, to be honest. I like either totally unisex in terms of you would not be able to tell if it was a male or female kind of marketed scent, totally kind of neutral, not veering in either direction. Or I like very kind of classically and stereotypically feminine scents. I just can't do anything that starts leaning towards smelling to my nose like the kind of recognizable men's colognes. So, and when I say cologne, I mean perfume, but for some reason, I guess, I don't know why everyone always calls it cologne when it's for a man. Maybe it's because they think perfume sounds like too feminine a word, which is funny, really, because people tend to say, oh, a men's cologne or like aftershave, but we know it's a perfume, right? Anyway, so Unbreakable Love, this little blue one, this was the only reason I wanted to try this one, because this one I'd already seen on Direct Cosmetics, and it was something insane, like under £5, I think, for this big thing. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Is this... Oh, gosh, it's that tiny writing where I can't even with my glasses on, I can barely see what it says. I'm not sure if this is an eau de parfum, but it's 100ml. It is 100ml, which is pretty impressive for such a small price. And again, if you quite like slightly masculine scents, or like masculine leaning unisex scents, or you think your partner would smell good in something slightly chocolatey, absolute bargain this, and quite an interesting bottle. I'm pretty sure, yeah, if you so chose, you could also put it that way. The other thing that's a bonus about these, I think, is you can literally put things on top of it. So anyway, so that's Unbreakable Love. The only reason I got this one, apart from it being so cheap, is that Sarah May's reviewed this one. She has this and she really likes it. She said that it was really good unisex. It was really interesting. It's got like cardamom in it, which makes it a bit more interesting. She said it was like tonka bean and cardamom, quite heavy in those notes. So the top notes here are bergamot and neroli, middle notes tonka bean, lily of the valley and cardamom, base notes musk and cedar. So they just had the little one of this. This was really quite crazy cheap, well under £5 as well. Okay, let's give this a spray. I'm not keen on this one either. This is very, very green. But it's not really green in a way I like. And I think that's because I'm not very keen on very green neroli smells. I don't get much tonka in this, and I get a fair amount of cedar. But again, I mean, this one definitely isn't. This is definitely more unisex smelling to me than this one. This one smells like a very nice male perfume with chocolate in it, so it's kind of quite interesting and quite yummy. This one just smells like a fresh green kind of neroli lily of the valley smell to me. I'm actually gonna go for it. I'm gonna put this one on my skin. This one straight up, I know, I just can't. It's just too masculine for me. I've tried Red Sin and like I said, it disappeared, but I've not actually put this one on my skin. So let's see how it does. You never know, maybe I'll change my mind. Very green on my skin again. A huge burst of bergamot when you spray it. very noticeably bergamot, and then the neroli starts peeking through. Okay, I'm going to let that one dry down. But generally speaking, it's quite a sour and bitter green perfume, which are not necessarily my favourite unless there's tea in it. I've got quite a lot of fresh, quite green perfumes, some of which have a real sharpness to them, and some of which are kind of a bit sweeter. But this one just wasn't kind of ringing any of my bells in terms of it being nice enough to keep when I have so many other fresh scents. I mean, I have like, I don't know, about 15 aqua colonias, and quite a few of those are quite green. And bergamot is not really necessarily my favourite fruity smell, if you see what I mean. Like if this was like blackcurrant, I might feel different, but yeah, I don't think this one's going to be for me. There's something green and grassy about it, but I'm not really getting much of anything else on my skin that's kind of enthralling me. I think the cardamom's quite subtle in this, and the tonka bean, it's only incredibly gently sweet. But this would be very good for people who like light green kind of bergamonty neroli kind of smells, but maybe slightly more interesting because of the cardamom. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's one that I'm particularly fond of, but it's not like bad at all by any means. It's an absolute bargain of a perfume, but I don't think it's quite up my alley. Okay. So then we have Crush by Rihanna. Every time I try to pick this up, this instantly comes off, and it's extremely annoying. So I'm just going to take that off before I drop it. So this is Crush by Rihanna. I think when I put up my review of what's the one I've got, Riri, when I said that I had Riri, lots of people talked to me and commented about how much they liked that one, and that they liked these other ones as well. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll give them a go and just see what they're like. This one I hadn't really thought I was going to try. Reason being that there's patchouli in it. So I was like, I don't like patchouli. Can I just say I'm so gutted that the lids are much nicer on these than they are on my bottle of Riri. Because the Riri one's just got like a kind of really cheap and tacky fake bit of black leather, like PVC, wrapped around it, and it looks rubbish. But these are kind of cute. Okay. All right. So this is one of those that I think kind of fooled me, because I sniffed it and there was something pretty about it, and I was like, oh, I might be able to wear that one. And then it started to dry down, and the patchouli and cedar started to bother me, sadly. So top notes are bergamot, mandarin orange and pink pepper. Middle notes of ylang ylang, red berries and pink rose. Base notes musk, cedar and patchouli. Okay, I'm just gonna... It's very fresh. I think I think you get quite a lot of the mandarin. Mandarin, ylang ylang, red berries. I'm not entirely sure. I would have guessed there was rose in this. But I definitely get that mandarin orange, and there's something creamy about it, which I think is probably the ylang ylang. I'm going to put a bit of this on my skin as well. I'm just going to smell insane after this review. Okay. It's quite sweet, considering there's no notes in it that would suggest that there's like vanilla or caramel or anything. It is quite sweet. But there's also a tangy tartness, you know. I mean, it's pretty. I'm not entirely sure if it just doesn't speak to me in any particular way. It's nice. It's not bad. It's just also kind of not good for me. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is what it is, yeah. So that's cedar. Oh, I've just realised this kind of reminds me of, I've just tested something else out recently that on paper I was like, oh, nice. On my skin, starts to smell a bit like pencil shavings. Yeah. It's that kind of cedar that smells a bit like pencil shavings on me. That's what it is. It's been so long since I originally tested this. I'd kind of forgotten what it went like on my skin. But it's perfectly pretty. And then I get pencil shavings. I get a little bit... There's a little bit of patchouli, which I don't really like patchouli, so I'm not keen on that bit. But I think it was mainly the pencil shavings for this. Yeah, it just kind of ruins it for me. I don't like wearing perfumes that have that slight pencil shavings vibe. It just puts me off, to be honest. It just puts me off. But I can't really smell pencil shavings on the card. So that might be a skin chemistry thing. And if it is, and if other people, please comment, if other people don't have that problem, this is a super pretty perfume and it's so cheap. Like, yeah, it's really pretty. It's actually quite sweet. I think having both, like having the bergamot and the mandarin orange and then the red berries and no kind of vanilla or anything listed, I think people maybe would think this would be a bit sharp, maybe a bit acidic, but no, it's pretty. It's like a fruity floral, slightly spicy. Yeah, nothing groundbreaking, but yeah, sadly a little bit pencil shaving-y on me, so that one didn't work for me. Now, Kiss. I just got a little 15ml of this. I'm very glad that that's what I did, because this one definitely isn't for me. Got a little tester strip. I have Riri and I like that one, but yeah, these didn't work out so well. I might actually do some rearranging here. Okay. Crush. And then here's that I mean, isn't it such a cute bottle? Oh my goodness, it's so sweet. What an absolute cutie. Anyway, so this one, I can't smell it on my strip anymore, which is not a surprise. It's a very long time ago that I actually sprayed this, so I almost don't want to spray it, because if I'm going to pass it on, I don't want to use lots of it, because it's only a 15ml. But I can't really talk to you guys if I don't spray it, so there we go. This smells quite nice to me at first, and then it gets very uncomfortable. Yeah, okay. So, notes in this. Plum, freesia and neroli are the top notes. Middle notes gardenia, peony and orange blossom. Base notes cashmere, wood, vanilla, ambergris, musk and cedar. So, this has that kind of like white winey, kind of fortified wine kind of smell to me. It's like, to me, it's slightly head splitting white flowers, and I actually can get a bit of a salty note, and the saltiness is kind of nice, but me and peony, we don't get on. I don't get enough sweetness in this scent to balance out how sharp the florals are. For me personally, they really sit on top and don't blend with the vanilla. Yeah, I mean, it's making my nostrils tingle, and I often get that with peony. Now, I should have known that I wouldn't like this one though, because its top comparison is Mugler Alien. That's not a perfume that I like. It was also compared... What was the other thing it was compared to? Let me have a look and see if I still got it up. It was compared to a couple of things that I don't like. Oh, and more and more. I'm not sure it really... It has a vibe of a more and more, but while being way, way sharp, because a more and more is really, really sweet. A more and more is, to me, like quite a rose, like a kind of citrusy rose perfume, but very, very sweet and slightly syrupy, and I find it personally a bit sickly, but I used to wear that when I was young. I used to love that perfume. I've been through bottles of that one. I can't wear it anymore for some reason. Yeah, I mean, it maybe has a tiny bit of that profile actually, but it's noticeably not kind of oranges and roses, you know. But yeah, the top comparison is Alien, and I really don't like Alien. There is no jasmine in this, but there's something about the florals that are just like woof. They are just, yeah, I did actually try this one on my skin, and it was just like, wow, that is, I'm gonna have to scrub that off before I get a headache. But that's me personally. I'm really weird about screechy white florals, and I think quite a lot of the time I find white floral screechy when other people don't. Yeah, it really is a kind of sharpness that tingles my nose going on here. I can sense that there is a vanilla underneath, but for me, those, like the neroli, the gardenia, the orange blossom and the peony, are really sitting right at the top here, and the plum isn't a sweet plum. I love freesia, but it has to be said, neroli, orange blossom, peony and gardenia are not my favourite florals by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, this one's just not for me. But again, this is probably another one where on someone else it would be like a nice scent trail that I'd enjoy. So I mean, I don't actually dislike at all any of these. I just don't think any of them are personally for me. Happily, they were all pretty cheap, so you know, it's not like I've spent loads of money. But I'm just going to have a quick smell of the Crush and the Unbreakable Love just to see. Yeah, Crush is super pretty. It's just 2 pencil shavings on me. Unbreakable Love, I mean, next to Crush, to be honest, I can't really smell it because Crush is quite sweet. Yeah, it's just not for me personally, but all really cheap, all bargainous. To be honest, the only one that I don't think is worth anyone's money is the Christina Aguilera one, and that is truly just because it's so weak. It's like the weakest perfume I've ever smelt. It's absolutely mad. Actually, that's not true. I smelt one once by, I think she's called Gabrielle Santorini or something like that. And it's called like Miss Gabrielle or something. And I literally thought that I'd been sent just water in a bottle. It smelled of nothing. And this is not that far off that. So I don't recommend the Christina Aguilera, but the rest of them I think are absolutely worth like a tenner. I mean, bargains in that respect.